Yes.
Right, and we are live.
Cool.
Okay, nice. So, demo time. Interesting. This week has been interesting.
For sure.
So, who goes first? Team chooses. Is it
Maybe.
issue number 5, maybe? First?
Okay, Chiamaka, do you want to talk about our
Okay, coming up. Okay, so this week we worked on our issue is basically making a user to be able to join an already existing list. And this is how we did it. Do I take this out? Okay, this is how we did it. We started from here. So we first of all created a state to check if a state that checks if the token is already existing. That's existing token and set existing token. And then here we are setting the no here. It's okay, no, sorry. This page contains both last week's issue and this week's issue. Okay, so here we are checking if after getting the token, we are going to check if the token exists by fetching the data. We have transitioned to use React Firebase hook. Here, this is where we are using React Firebase hook. Here. And then, so the shopping list here contains the list attached to the token. If the token exists, then this list will not be empty. So we are checking if this list is empty. If it's empty, it means that the token does not exist. Therefore, the Firebase will not fetch any data. But if it's not empty, then we save the token to the local storage and then lead the user to the slash list. And then when they get to slash list, automatically, then when they get here, automatically the code here is going to fetch their token that is already saved in the local storage, fetch the token and then use it to fetch their data from the database and then display it here. So basically, this is what we worked on this last week, putting this logic here to retrieve the token, save it to the local storage, and then redirect the user, and then alert the user to either create a list where they'll be assigned a token or put in the correct token in the case where the token does not exist. So this is the demo. Okay, so here, so here I'm going to put a wrong token and join list. It's going to tell the user that it does not exist. Please create a new list or add an existing token. Oh, okay. So I'm going to add an existing Let me do that again. My network cut. Okay, so to put in an existing token, join list, it's going to save the token here, and then it's going to go ahead and fetch the items attached to that token. So that is it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's basically what we worked on this
Yeah,
week.
this is
Any question?
yeah,
Okay.
this is
Any
great.
uh,
I could like say one thing immediately that I wanted, like when I was also code reviewing it, the code itself, it has been very well written. So I have to like compliment. I'm already saying it before the next demo as well, but
okay,
I just had to say it. So sooner the better. But yeah, it's very well
okay,
written.
okay.
Jamaka, sorry, out of curiosity, now are you demoing your own branch or the main branch?
No, our branch. Our branch.
Okay.
Do I switch to the main branch, or I was thinking maybe after Becky's group is done doing, then we'll do the entire demo in the main branch, or do I switch to the main branch?
Okay, I mean, because in the previous list there were car was there 3 times and book was there 2 times. There's nothing wrong with the list. It's just that you entered the same items, right?
Yeah. And you also
Okay.
have some different code as I have. I'm not sure. I pulled the main branch about half an hour ago, and we also had this set existent token to reset when the token is false, and you don't have it in your code now, but it
Okay.
exists.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm very sorry. I didn't pull the this thing you
Yeah,
made.
no worries at all. I also put down the main, and I saw that. Did you mean like clearing out the input, Julia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it also.
Yes.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay. I mean, all right.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
totally.
I
Any
think so.
other?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Sorry, did you see the Joseph's
Okay.
question in the chat? He says if anybody knows the difference between use history and redirect.
Oh, actually, it was discussed in my office hours. It was last week's office hours, and yeah, Joseph was not attending it because of his situation back in Uganda. But the reason, like the difference is that use history is basically if you want to programmatically like redirect, then you use history. But otherwise, you use redirect. So basically, it does the same thing. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, just to add on it, use
Yeah.
effect is also like kind of a hook that comes with the React router done. So yeah, it fits really well with the functional component. It does the same thing and it's just more readable in terms of like functional component.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So next demo.
Okay, so Joseph recorded a loom, so I'll share my screen so I can share that with you. Let me just check. Right.
You're already.
Evening.
Oh, let me just.
Because of the
Minute.
good evening. Because of the challenges I've been facing recently, I've decided to make this recording early enough in case my internet develops problems. Okay, essentially this week I partnered with AQ. We work
Oh, I think we don't see the recording, Becky. Oh, we do actually, sorry. It was just post.
Second, did you say you can't see anything? Oh, sorry, I think you might be muted.
Yeah, we do. I'm sorry. It was just, okay. I think, post or something.
Okay, I'll hang on, I'll skip.
We don't hear, I think.
Yeah, the video is running, but probably if we move ahead a few seconds, like a couple of tens of seconds.
So do you see my screen? It's just not playing.
Yeah, your screen is there, and the video was also playing, but actually nothing was being like done in the video.
Oh, okay. Let me try. Okay, let me go back.
I think if we maybe just skip ahead a few seconds, it may.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Required us to add this feature is to prevent somebody from entering an item which already exists in the shopping list. So we have this acceptance criteria to demonstrate what we did. Let me take you to these two browser tabs. On my left is the app which has been deployed to Netlify already. So here we have two items on the shopping list. We have book appearing more than once. So essentially, in this app, this one is not supposed to happen because the shopping list must have an item appearing once. So when you look at our add item view, let me try adding book once again. I'm not buying this version, and I click add. There. Sorry about that, my internet is quite slow. And I go to list view, you will notice that this has been added successfully to our shopping list. So I have 3 books appearing here. Now, when I go to localhost, this is the app which is having a new feature. We have only one item which is appearing in the shopping list. Let me try and add them again. I'm not buying that one very soon. You'll notice that after clicking add item, there is a message which appears to the user. You have 10 in your shopping list today. So when we navigate to our list view, you'll notice pen appearing once. When I go back and try adding again, and then click kind of shoe, again, there is an error message which is displayed. So when I start editing, you'll notice the error message disappears. So that is the new feature which we added. How did we go about this? So when we go to Visual Studio Code, essentially we started by adding a DOM element. This is a paragraph which displays this message here. You have this item in the shopping list already. We are rendering this conditionally. That is if this variable here is true. So essentially, we use the use state to declare this state. We have the shopping list item name exist variable, and then we have a setter. which is the set shopping list item name exists. So inside, the event handler, which is responsible for submitting the form. Before somebody submits a form, we need to check whether what this person is trying to submit already exists in the shopping list or not. If the item already exists, then we display that error message and return. So essentially, that is what we did, and that is the feature we added with Becky. If you have any questions, you are free to ask, Mr. Jeff to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. I could go first in what I noticed and I really liked. So the form was like very semantically used, and I like that, like how the HTML form was used. And then the regular expression, that was a good regular expression. And regular expression is something that I think so many newcomers and beginners struggle with, like getting their head around regular expression. So that was nice. And then like using normalizing the string and all of that. So that was also very good. So well done.
Yeah, for sure. I also love the regular expression you used because it was like very clean, and it was kind of working on all the use cases, like with the dots and commas and all that stuff. I wonder if you could kind of demonstrate for us, Becky, like real quick, just to add like spaces in between the words.
Yeah. Let me think I've got it. Okay, let me just share again. Okay, so can you can see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So for example, I think I've got a list open here with just tomatoes on. So this is the live app now with both branches in. So for example, if we do something like this, it still gets rid of everything that doesn't make sense and does the comparison to check for duplicates. Yeah, so it should just normalize it completely to lowercase.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is great. Actually, one small thing that I noticed that would be like good to keep in mind. So when this notification comes that if something is already in the list, then all the other content like jumps down. So this is something that usually like people like recommend that if you have this sort of like notification or something that could be like some content would appear in some circumstances. So then you put a placeholder there with a fixed height, so the content doesn't jump down.
Oh, I see. Okay, so
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, you see the whole thing like the HTML goes down.
Yeah, it looks jolty that way.
Yeah.
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 Okay. That's a really good idea. We can have a look at that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's great. So when just a question, when the function is checking for the duplicate word, or if the word is already in the database, is it basically running a check on all the words in the database and setting true or false, or it's just running a check on the one word?
It's checking all the items in the database, going through normalizing all of them and comparing it against each normalized input. So I think it's items.sum. So we use that method for it to just leap through everything. And then returns true if it does find a match.
Yeah, great work, both teams.
Yeah, really
Yes.
well done.
Yeah, really well done. I think so. This week has been the toughest week so far. And the way all of this, like the code has been written and the communication and everything. So it has been amazing. It has been amazing. So really well done, especially like putting this React Firebase hook. like taking that back into the code itself and like using that and fixing the problem that we had last week. So that problem is also fixed in this week's sprint. So really well done.
How has it felt for you all as developers, like in terms of communication? Has there been any, like, how have you all felt about it?
I didn't get what you said. How have you felt about?
Yeah, no, just in terms of like for us as mentors, I think we've all really been conscious, and like we've been really seeing like the fact that it's really seamless collaboration among all of you as the weeks, or like this week especially and before. Like have you all felt the same kind of like I guess ease of collaboration, or has it been like, have you had any kind of obstacles that you've had to overcome to like work more effectively together, or how has that experience been for all of you?
Oh, okay. Communication is something we do very well among ourselves, very well. Like everyone is just ready to jump in and help. Even at a point, me and Julia, we were really confused about the React 5 hook. It was Joseph that really helped us and walked us through the steps, and we're able to get it. So we don't have a problem or a challenge in the area of communicating among ourselves. It's really nice, going well.
How was the pair programming situation? I'm asking because Golfo is about to do a learning module about pair programming. So it's actually nice to hear like how was your pair programming experience before we jump into this learning module?
It's all right too. Like we mostly share code among us. If we are not able to live code together, we can just like share topics and then do research on them and then share our codes and walk each other through how the thought process and how we implemented it and what each code is doing. That's basically the approach we take. Yeah. So pair programming, we are supposed to code together, right? Like together. One person will be coding, the other person will be checking. That's how it happens, right?
Yeah, most of the time. I mean, it depends. There are like different styles, but I would say, yeah, like driving and navigating. One is driving, one is navigating. So.
So I guess you do asynchronous pair programming.
Yeah. More like it. But the first week, I and Becky, when we were a team, we did pair programming. Like we coded all our code on Zoom. So, but the others, it was asynchronous, as you said. Nice name.
Okay, cool. I mean, there's pros and cons to pair programming synchronously and asynchronously. Luke, are we done with the demoing? Can I move on to the learning module?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
thank
jump
you.
into that.
Okay, just I also want to say that everybody did a great job, and I'm seeing a really great improvement. This is only the third week, and I've already seen, you work a lot smoother now. I think communication has improved. So imagine it's only the third week. What else will you do in the next 5 weeks? It's amazing. Good job. Look, I have a presentation that says pair programming old. I just saw this. Is this the correct one? Let me share my screen, or is there a pair programming new somewhere?
Yeah, it should be one. Why don't you share and let's see if this.
Okay. Okay, I guess, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And
yeah, this is the one. Yeah.
Okay, great. And I'm in presentation mode. I guess everybody can see it.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about pair programming. Pair programming, as you've probably already know and done, is when two developers sit together in front of a computer and take turns writing code using just one keyboard. So it's like two minds working together on a single task on a single computer. And the two parts of the pair are the driver, which controls the keyboard and is responsible for writing the code. This person types and tries to verbalize their thinking process as much as possible as they code. So they don't code in silence, they type and also say what they think. And the navigator pays close attention to the code the driver is writing, offering guidance, suggesting alternatives, finding answers to upcoming questions and challenges, and acting as a sounding board for the ideas the driver is coming up with. So the driver takes the lead, the navigator makes comments on what the driver is doing and helps them. This is a bit of a challenge when you're pairing remotely. When you're in the same room, you just grab a computer, the pair sits side by side and they work together. When pairing remotely, there are a couple of tools. VS Code even has a plugin called Live Share, which allows you to share your programming environment with somebody else. I can send you a link later. But you can even do it with just, Zoom, Google Hangouts, and other screen sharing tools. So the cycle goes a bit like this. Two developers hop on a video screen or share a call. The driver shares their screen and codes while the navigator provides feedback and asks questions. The driver pushes code to remote repo and the navigator pulls that code down locally. Then they swap roles and start back at step one. And I think the swapping roles part is very important because this way the driver navigator can rest and take the mental load off and get into the other role, so they start fresh. And I don't know, maybe they can do each for half an hour or so. So the mindset and attitude when pair programming, you should always have a very positive attitude and never be judgmental, because the point is to solve a task and not to criticize the other person's programming skills. In the beginning, pair programming might be a bit scary. You might be worried what the other person will say about your code. But in most cases, people just want to help. Sometimes it can be more efficient. Not sometimes, most of the time, it can be more efficient to go with your parent partner's idea than to argue on approach. So your partner might have an idea, and they might help you clear any doubts that you have. When you're working alone, you might not be sure how to proceed with something, and then your partner has a great idea. And also, you need a beginner's mind. You need to embrace doubt and possibility. Pair programming most of the time is not about teaching or mentorship. In some cases, the goal of pair programming might be to teach to learn from your senior or teach somebody something. But it's always an opportunity to learn. You can learn very simple stuff. You might learn a shortcut from your partner who's a driver. You might learn, a nice JavaScript one-liner. You might see their folder structure on their PC. There's a whole lot of things not exclusively related to programming. And the drivers should seek agreement before proceeding. So they should, both of them should agree, the driver and the navigator, on what to do. And the navigator should ask and not tell the driver. So it's a collaboration, actually. It's not, one partner is not more important than the other. They both they're both equal. So I have some other notes, but I want to hear about your experience so far. Chamak already told us. And I also want to hear you know, if you've seen any benefits or any drawbacks. Did you think, how did you feel after pair programming or before pair programming or even during? And I mean, even if you think that, okay, pair programming, maybe it was a waste of time and you could have done it better on your own, uh, all sorts of ideas. Uh, so anybody want to tell me what they think?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Joseph?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, essentially what I've learned from pair programming is that it gives you an opportunity to learn from your partner. You know, if you have a problem, you'll find that two people may have different approaches uh, for arriving at the solution to that problem. So if you do pair programming, essentially you learn from each other. And then my experience so far is that it is good. It is really helpful. And then despite the challenges personally I've been facing on my end, though it is not, what do you call it? Is it asynchronous or synchronous? Though it is not asynchronous, but we tried our best to make it to pair program, though we did jump on a live Zoom or shared screens. So essentially what we did was one person codes, the other one reviews, adds something, and then we keep on reviewing each other's work until we finished the assignment. But so far it has been good. Having a live session like this on Zoom was not easy for me personally because of the challenges on my end. So that is how I've been so far.
Okay, so thank you, Joseph. Do you want to say something else?
No,
Okay.
that is all.
Okay, thank you. Yep. So indeed, pair programming is an opportunity to learn. And from what I've heard from you and Chamaka, it's that in theory, remote pair programming can be done synchronously and it's very easy, etc. But in reality, it's not so easy. But this doesn't mean that we should give up on pair programming, and we can find ways around it and benefit from it. Um, uh, Yep, and you know, it helps if you have somebody with a different perspective on your code, and they can catch bugs right at the moment when you're typing them. So when you're alone, you might type a bug and see it a lot later, or you might even miss it. But if you have somebody watching you while you code, they might catch a bug in that moment. Julia, Becky, do you have any comments on pair programming? No.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I profit very much from pair programming, but I have to admit, I guess I'm the weakest one of the four of us. So I really have to think a lot before meeting with the other programmer, because I have to read a lot and prepare a lot and try a lot before I can tell maybe we could do this. I think when I would work after our meeting, right after the meeting we would work, I would don't know anything about what to do, and the other person would already have some thoughts about it. So I think I would just say what the other person would say. But since we are mostly meeting on maybe Monday in the evening, I have a lot of time to think about what we could do, and so it's very good for me to work first on Monday in the evening and to share our thoughts, and then we maybe I already programmed something and the other person too, and we share each other's code, and then we could say, why did you do that and why did you do this, and then we compare our thoughts and go with one direction, with one code.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I don't know what metric you use, and you think that you're the weakest. I highly doubt
Well,
it. And or I mean, if you are the weakest, you're hiding it very well. I couldn't tell. So
I have great partners, that's why.
awesome. And yep, so in a way, pair programming kind of holds you responsible, and it forces you in a way to, research and be prepared, and it helps you not to procrastinate and just leave everything to chance. And also, if you have to explain your thoughts to the other person, at the moment you're explaining it, you think that okay, I'm not doing this in such a good way. Maybe I could do it in a better way. Or if you can't really explain something, it helps you understand that you haven't really understood the problem. So there's a lot of benefit. Uh,
Mm.
okay, thank you, Becky. Maybe you have some comments.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy sort of pair programming in general. I think is a little bit more difficult remotely, and it's the first time I've done it remotely. So I think we've done really well, but I think there's been some sort of adaptations in terms, as Julia was saying, we've sort of had sort of gaps between our sort of calls and things, so time to sort of research and do a little bit of stuff sort of on our own, but then coming together to sort of consolidate it, which I think has worked quite well for us so far. So I think it's just that adjustment to doing it remotely, but I really enjoy sort of attempting to have sort of proper pair programming session, and with my partner. So I think it's been good.
Okay, great. Thank you, Becky. From seeing the results, it seems that what you're doing is working. Maybe you can try to do some real pair programming, if it's possible, of course, due to the time zone differences or technical limitations. And about pair programming, I don't know about you. Whenever I pair program, I feel energized afterwards. So it also increases morale, and it helps you. And somebody might say that a con of pair programming is that it takes longer because, two people working in parallel theoretically should work faster. But because the code quality is better with pair programming, in the long term, it takes a shorter time because the code quality is better. Two people know about the code, so in case somebody goes on a holiday, then the other person can work on it. And of course, when pair programming, the two partners should get along, and they should get along and not fight. But when they pair program, they should be focused on the task and not talk about fun things, because that beats the purpose, and you don't get anything done. Okay, so let me see if I have any other notes. Yep. I think.
Yeah, I would add one more thing. Or actually, you mentioned, but I would kind of double the thought that the pair programming, it's like in terms of learning, it's an amazing experience. But I also think that when you pair program with someone else, it also increases your confidence level, because sometimes there are moments when you get stuck on very simple bug, and you think that it's something that you don't know how to resolve, but maybe it's like very simple bug you have. So you have someone to catch that bug right there, and it also makes the pair programming or the implementation more efficient, because you don't get stuck to like very simple small things, which we all do. So
yep.
Pair programming really helps to increase the efficiency of the work, and also increases your confidence in terms of like knowing that, okay, I actually made very simple mistake, and it's not something that I don't understand. So.
Yep, exactly. And it also increases your confidence in another way. If you're pair programming with somebody senior to you and you correct one of their bugs, it makes you feel good, because you think, okay, this person is a senior, and I helped him, or maybe I know something that he doesn't know. So it kind of helps you beat imposter syndrome
Mm.
or feeling you're the weakest in your group.
I was going to add on to that because I totally connect with this idea of like, oh God, I before pair programming, before I jump on a pair with someone, I really have to know my stuff, and I have to like understand everything that's happening. But I think that's like it's kind of a mindset of like, okay, we're kind of putting ourselves into this box of being like in a learning like stage rather than like being an actual developer. And if we can go into these sessions with more of a mindset of like, this is literally a time for me to learn and a time for me to ask questions, and more often than not you'll be with a pretty supportive teammate, and if you can kind of like take advantage of asking as many questions as you want, even amongst yourselves, just like I think all of you are extremely strong, and some people have maybe stronger points than others, and then like the same thing for others having stronger points. That's such a great opportunity for you to learn from one another, or just to like ask questions about the different approaches you're taking, or your different perspectives on choosing to write like a function one way or another. So yeah, definitely I connect with that feeling of like needing to know everything before, but it's not a test at all, and you're never going to be like put on the spot with pair programming and being like, okay, so what does this do, or like what, like that kind of thing. It's very collaborative and focused on learning.
Yeah, one thing I could mention is like at my workplace I have been like trying like pair programming remotely for last 6 months for every day. So me and one of my colleagues we have been like collaborating or remotely like pair programming for every day. And then how we do that is that so for code we use this live share that Golfo you mentioned, and then as well we are like connected through Google Meet. So usually I'm the driver because it we have came to this understanding that okay, I could be the driver, he's the navigator, and he's not very passive sort of like personality. So he's an active sort of personality, and he's a very I would say like a very smart person. So because I have seen like for me, if I'm the navigator, then I lose the plot quickly, especially if you are working remotely, and if you are not at the forefront of the things, then after some time then you are like okay, your attention could go here and there, and like it could be difficult to be focused. But the person I have been like collaborating with, like so he usually like we are discussing whatever we are doing, like there are ideas, okay, that we have this problem, then we have to figure out like how to solve that problem. So we discuss, I'm writing, he has my access to my VS Code. I'm listening to him, he's listening to me, and then we do it for like 8 hours a day. We just take lunch breaks or like some coffee breaks or something, and then we're just doing that. And then if we both are stuck on something, then we call someone else from the team. So it's like three of us, or sometimes it's like four of us, and then we are discussing the ideas and like okay, like how to do this, and again, we go from there. So initially it could be a bit difficult to have this sort of mindset, but once you get used to it, it's actually it's actually fun to do. Because one thing I feel with doing pair programming is that at the end of the day I feel like okay, I have achieved something. Because previously I noticed that sometimes at the end of the day I thought like I didn't do as well as I should have done. So then I spend more time than 8 hours, so which is like which burns you. So with this pair programming, like there is this mutual understanding that okay, you have done this much thing and this is good enough. So let's call it a day, and like let's continue it from tomorrow.
Oh, wow, Mohammed, that was very insightful, and I'm very impressed that you pair program so much with the rest of your colleagues. I have never
Yeah,
heard anybody else do this before.
especially
And
remotely.
yeah, exactly, it's amazing. And yep, and as you said, it helps you from getting distracted. And as you said, if you get distracted, again, you might end up spending more than 8 hours and then feel that you've done nothing. But
Hmm.
with this technique, you can focus for, I don't know, 8 hours or 5 or even 3, and do a lot of work, and then feel satisfied about yourself.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that was an interesting point for sure. And also the good thing, like very like last quick thing, that like for the synchronous pair programming, I think the best part also is that you communicate your thoughts, which is also like very important, like for your job search when you're interviewing and when you're like showing your code to the interviewer. So it's a really, really good practice to kind of talk about your thoughts and practice that skill. So pair programming also provides that skill, or when you talk about your thoughts.
Yep, exactly. And as Alex said, it's an opportunity to learn. And if the other person is judgmental of your code, it's their problem. It's not yours. There's nothing wrong with you. You're doing nothing wrong. And yep, so you shouldn't be afraid. Okay, so if you want to learn more about pair programming, here are some links. I'll post this presentation in Slack in case it's not there. I'll post it in our channel. Okay, and that's it. Thank you, all of you. You had some very interesting experiences with pair programming. It was great hearing from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
It was a nice
Golfo.
presentation.
For sure.
Thank you, Golfo.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm up next with the issues for this coming week. I will share my screen. Okay, so this week we have a couple of issues, and I think they're kind of, they're a little bit less involved than the ones we've had before, I think. So this is the first one. As a user, I want to see a welcoming prompt to add my first item of my, if my list is empty, to help me get oriented to how the app works. And so essentially within the list view, if there isn't a list yet in the database or there's no items to display, it should show a prompt or a button for the user to add their first item. So kind of like an empty state. This will show when someone when there's no items on the list within the list view. So this is the wireframe for that. Oh, did someone have a question? No. Okay. So that's that. That's pretty. I feel like this is maybe like the smallest issue we've seen yet. And then let me grab. Oh gosh, sometimes with Zoom I can never get. Can never grab the top.
The navigation, right? The
yes,
Zoom.
Yes, like why? Because it has that, yeah. Okay, and then for our second issue, number 8, as a user, I want to mark an item on my shopping list as purchased so the app can learn how often I buy different items. And so we have a couple of acceptance criteria here. Number 1, the user is able to tap a checkbox or some other element on the UI to mark that an item in the list is purchased. And then the second is item should be shown as checked for 24 hours after the purchase is made, because theoretically we're assuming the user doesn't need to buy the item again for at least one day. Like we're assuming they're at the store and they're like checking it off as they go. So if we go to, I think, yeah, we have a wireframe here as well. We're just looking right now at kind of this functionality, having a little checkbox or something similar. Right here, details and delete, we don't need to worry about that for this issue. That will come later on another week. But essentially just being able to be in the list view, having the items pop up and being able to check this off. And then also that staying for 24 hours before it returns back to its unchecked state, or yeah, before it turns back to its unchecked state. Okay, we have the pairs for the coming week, Becky and Chiamaka, and then Joseph and Julia. I wanna before choosing, oh wait, maybe I'll continue to share. So before choosing which pairs get what, I want to just talk about, or maybe like if we have ideas among the developers as to how we could test this kind of thing. Or I don't know, what does everyone think? Like, just in terms of like kind of ideas, because maybe it's not more. Does anyone have any questions about these before jumping into different ideas? No. Okay.
Yeah, I think the issue number 7 is pretty straightforward, and for
Yes.
the number 8, it definitely needs some planning before you start implementing your code. And the thing to think about is that how you want to implement a functionality where user clicks the item and kind of marks it as purchased, and then you don't allow user to mark the same item again for the next 24 hours. So like that's something probably you will need to do a little bit research and then first plan how you want to implement this and then do actual coding.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, as always, we're available to help you out in the Slack. But yeah, I think as Luca said, it's just a matter of just kind of taking that extra step to kind of plan it out and then kind of seeing how are we going to check this in our database, or how are we going to check that the 24 hours has passed by. But y'all are great. Oh yeah, Becky.
I'm just going to, so a quick question, just so they can mark it as checked, but then if they realize they've made a mistake, they should be able to uncheck it. Is that right? Because you said sort of about looking down, so that it you can't amend it, but then if you tap it by mistake, should you be able to?
So basically the idea of the check mark is that, so first you add an item to your list, and for example, you went to the store and you bought this item, and like when you come back, you open your app and you click the check mark and you say that, okay, I purchased this item.
I think so. To answer Becky's question, if you see the wireframe, so the fourth tab, I think so there was this delete as well. So delete does the thing.
Yeah, that's going to be the future.
If somebody it's a future thing, but if somebody adds an item to the list by mistake, then delete is the one that should be used.
Yeah.
Yes, so now I was thinking maybe more if they just press the checkbox, because I suppose with delete the whole item. Or
yeah, I mean theoretically, and then you could just kind of add it back.
Oh, you could add it back. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, instead of, because I feel like adding that, if we want to keep it checked for 24 hours, and then like, oh yeah, if there's that edge case of someone pressing it and then making a mistake, that kind of really broadens the scope.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay, so we don't need to worry about letting them uncheck it. It should
Becky, you can keep that question noted somewhere. And I think the final issue is improving the app in general. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it can be added there, maybe an undo button, something like that. In the end, if there's time.
Yeah, more of like an extra thing. Yeah.
But thank you. That's a very interesting question.
Yeah, that's a great observation. Okay, I don't know, I forgot how we did this last week, or how we choose issues. Does anyone have a preference for one over the other?
I think we just did it, we've just been doing it randomly, I think.
Oh, we have? Okay.
I don't mind, but if anyone has preference.
All right, let's do, I'm gonna say, wait, where's the chat? Here we go. I'm going to say Becky and Chiamaka, issue 7, and Joseph and Julia, issue 8. Is that okay with everyone?
Okay.
Okay. Cool. I think that's it for the issues. We're excited to see what everyone comes up with, and more collaboration and teamwork. And yeah, again, you guys are just super, super impressive. I feel so inspired just watching everything going on. I feel like I'm learning so much from you. So great work.
For sure. This week was so much stuff happened with the app, so that was really amazing. I loved it. I would suggest maybe this week you try synchronous pair programming and see how it goes.
Yeah, try that. I put that link for VS Code, the live share. That's really helpful. And I didn't know about it until I started at my job. But yeah, really helpful for basically doing pair programming remote at the same time as your partner. I'll put it in Slack as well, just so you have that. And if anyone has questions about setting it up, it's really easy in VS Code. You can just do it as an extension, and it just installs in VS Code. That's it.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Great demos today.
Yeah, also, we're really good with timing.
Yeah,
That's true.
We're really good with timing. Yeah, that's good. Okay, well, everyone, have a wonderful week and a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and we will see you in Slack and see you again here in a week from today.
Yep. Have a good one.
Very much.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye. Thank you very
everyone.
much.